Okay, so now we're gonna do a house scene in 2-point perspective. So, like always, we're gonna draw our horizon line. This time, we're just gonna put 2 points on it. I'm gonna put this all the way at the edges of my paper, just to give us the most room for a 2-point. Put my house over here this time. This is a line that is perpendicular to the horizon line. And then the next lines I'm going to draw are all going to go towards the vanishing points. Just like a box. In 2-point perspective. Always making sure I'm lining up with my vanishing points. Otherwise it's not going to work. Now these are also perpendicular to the horizon line, not slanty. Erase my extra bits. Okay, now I need to find the inside, bottom, and top so I can find the back wall. Those also go from corners to vanishing points. Okay, so those line up right above each other, just like they should. Alright, so now I can choose if this is going to be the front of my building, or if this is going to be the front of my building. Really, when you're doing it, it can be the back if you want, but for all these purposes, I'm gonna make this side the front, so you can see what I'm doing on everything. Because the back just doesn't have nearly as much detail sometimes. So I use the X again to find the middle. This is crucial because it's in perspective, so you're not going to just be able to measure it to find the middle. So same thing in the back. So now we need to look at what side our roof plane is going to go to, and of course, since the front of the roof is on this side, the roof plane is going to be on this side, so it's going to go to the vanishing point. So I wanted to make sure that you could see it, so I'm actually going to go ahead and draw that line before I connect anything else. So I have to extend this line up a little bit. Because if my roof was down here, it would have been inside that. You wouldn't be able to see it over the edge of the house, so you wouldn't have to draw it. So now I can connect it to the frame of my house. Okay, now I can erase all these extra lines because I just don't need them anymore. Unless you plan on looking through a window. Maybe I'll leave those just so I can show you what that looks like. So I just want to leave the walls of the interior of my house. Okay. So I've got my roof. Next logical step before I forget about it is to do the chimney. The chimney works a little bit differently than it does in 1 point. I'm going to set it back kind of farther, be a little smaller here. So this is the corner, just like this is the corner of my chimney. So then the top and bottom are going to go to perspective vanishing points. Just like putting a little box on top of another box. Except for this line at the bottom is still going to follow the line of the roof. Because you can't have it go inside your house now. So this line went to the vanishing point, this line went to this vanishing point, this line went to this vanishing point, and this one, I lined my ruler up with this line and then slid it over to here so I would know what the angle is of my roof. So there's the chimney. It looks wonderful. Let's do a door. Doors are going to be the same on the front or the side of the house. They're just going to go to different vanishing points. So here's my door. Remember, this is eye level, so I kind of want my door to be above that. And then I'm going to go follow this line. So line it up with my vanishing point. And right now my door doesn't have any depth. So I'm actually going to give it some depth by making a mark towards the other vanishing point. Right in here. And actually, since this goes above the horizon line, it's going to come down to... Oh, that wasn't right in the corner. Make sure it's right in the corner when you draw it. Yeah, let's just try that again. Okay. So it's real slight. That's my door frame, and this line will go to this vanishing point over. Oh, you can't see it. Let's get my paper over here. So the top and bottom line go to this vanishing point over here. Woohoo! And now see if the door was not closed, you could see this interior line. And it should line up kind of with that. Okay, so we've got a door. Let's do 2 windows. I'm gonna do just one big, massive window here. The bottom is gonna go. So since it's on this side of the house, I'm gonna use this same vanishing point for the top and the bottom. So since it's right on this horizon line, I'm actually not going to be able to see the top of the sill. I'm only going to be able to see the bottom of the sill, so I'm going to line it up over here with this vanishing point. Just make that mark. And then an opposite vanishing point over here for the bottom of the sill. So now if this was an open window, you could totally see that that was a wall in there. And if I was to like draw things inside the house, say like I wanted to put a painting on the wall, that painting, since it's on this frame of the wall, would go towards this vanishing point. It's like a little painting so you can see that. And then it's abstract. Woo! And that's my painting. Super fun. You could do a table and chairs same way that you see in. So, draw my table like the top of a box. I'm going to erase most of this table. I'm just drawing the whole thing out so that you can see where I'm coming from. And then give it some legs. I'm only going to draw the leg on this side because you can't see the other ones. Maybe give it some thickness there. So that's the wall. Can't see through that. There. So just see the corner of my table. You could do like a rug, the same. Just make it interesting. You got a giant window, might as well put some stuff inside your house. If you do a window on this side, we'll do one above the horizon line on this side. Real long, skinny window. I'm using that vanishing point. So we can see this part of the ceiling through that window. So maybe if your walls were purple and your ceiling was white, you would make sure to color this purple and leave that white. We need to give it some depth. So that's going to come, since it's on this side, and above the horizon line we can see the top. And that's going to go to this opposite vanishing point over here. And then back to the closest vanishing point to make the top of the windowsill. We're not going to see the bottom because since your eyes are here, you're looking up, and your eyes are looking back towards us. You're never going to see anything close to this line in this perspective because you'd have to be looking this way, and you can't. You're looking this way. It's just how it works. Okay, so next, let's do some stairs. A lot of people like to have a porch, so let's give this person a porch. We'll do some stairs coming off their porch. Little porch. That's not the corner of the house. And line that up with my vanishing point. Everything gets lined up with vanishing points in 2-point perspective except those perpendicular lines to the horizon line. Okay, so I've got my porch. Woohoo! Now I'm gonna need some stairs to get down. I can put those anywhere. I can make them this whole length if I wanted to. So let's do that just so you can see. So these are perpendicular lines. And if I wanted to keep these all the same size, I would measure this. The perpendicular lines going down. Then I'm going to go over to my vanishing point. Draw a line. And then I need a place where you put your foot. So I'm going to draw over. Draw my other line. Draw down again. Over to the vanishing point. let's go out one more time. Back to this vanishing point. Then down. Back to the vanishing point for the last time. I got some stairs. Woohoo! So this is like the place where you put your feet, if you can't tell. So you step there. That's where you trip if you're not picking your feet enough up, and then you step there. This is where you stand finally. Ooh, stairs. Okay, let's do a sidewalk. Sidewalks usually come off of stairs. Although this person doesn't live by anyone else, they're still gonna have a sidewalk. It's gonna go on forever, actually. Okay. So their sidewalk is infinitely long because it keeps on going all the way to that vanishing point. Woohoo! So sidewalks have lines in them. Again, you can be like, oh, line this up. Oh, all these lines are gonna go, your cracks in the sidewalk are gonna go towards the opposite vanishing point. So I can be like, after this point, from atmospheric perspective, I can't see any more of those lines very accurately. And to give myself a starting spot, I'm gonna put one line right here because you really need a square. So you can draw those X's for distance. I'm gonna do these really light because I want to be able to erase them. So if this was 20 feet total, this mark right here would be 10 feet. So if this whole thing is 20 feet, this is 10 feet, and this is 10 feet. And then I can draw another X to divide each side. Remember, if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other side too, otherwise you're just being weird with perspective. So I want to divide these up into 5 feet segments now. Or 5 foot segments. Okay. So I'm looking for where these lines cross, which is right there. Where these lines cross, which is right there. So I'm going to go back to a vanishing point and go ahead and mark that. And I still think this looks awful big for a sidewalk square. So I'm going to do it one more time. And if the lines confuse you, you can erase them after each step. That way you're not like looking at a lot of different lines. Because I understand that it can get confusing, so. There's my new one, so I have to divide this one here. And I have to divide this one. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and draw all those lines to my vanishing point. And this is what I mean by, like, eventually this space back here will become negligible because it's just so small that no one's going to care if you don't get it exactly right. No one's gonna come and check unless it looks super weird, like you're dividing it not enough times or like you're spacing it out weird. Okay. So now, well, I almost erased that line. That was a line. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna add those rest of the lines, but they're kind of close together, so I can just like kind of eyeball it. Just move it a touch every single time. A little bit less every time. And then after a bit, you can just be like, color, color, color. Yes, done. And it'll look like that sidewalk's divided up evenly. Sidewalks usually aren't flat to the ground. They usually like stand up a little bit. So I'm going to give my sidewalk a little bit of depth, not too much. So I draw that line in there, and now I can draw some vertical lines down. Or vertical or perpendicular to the perspective, or the horizon line. See, I don't even care down here. No one can see those. No one's eyes are that good. That looks like a good sidewalk. Okay, now we want to draw some kind of circle, so that you can see it in perspective. Let's make this look less weird first. I just can't even stand it. My house is floating. Actually, I want to give it a little bit because it's coming off that sidewalk edge. So now that looks more logical. Instead of my weird floating house. Okay, let's do circle. I'm gonna do a circle window. And we'll do a circle planter. Just so, or we can draw a hole in the ground. Like some weird people. See into the depths of hell. No. Not quite. We could pretend though, because we're artists and we can draw whatever we want. So again, I'm going to start off with something that I'm going to be like, looks kind of like a square. But it's in perspective. It's the side. Then draw the X to find the middle. And then the T with the cross part of the T has to go to the finishing point in this perspective. So then I can draw my one little segment so I know that's going to be there. Draw my line straight down, mark it. Draw my line towards the vanishing point. Mark it. Same up top. Mark it, and those should be right above each other. That's how you know you did it right. Now you know it has to go through that dot. Looks a little rough. Not too bad. So there's my circle window. So I'm above my horizon line and on this side of the house, so I'm going to see the top and the side. And that's what I'm going to see. That's it. Window done. So easy. Okay, now let's do one on the ground. Maybe this person's going to plant a tree since they have no trees in their yard. It's so barren and gross. All their neighbors hate them. That's why they moved away and destroyed their houses. I'm just kidding. So now they want friends. So I drew the bottom of my box on the ground using my vanishing points. And I have to draw my X just like before. Don't want to knock my ruler off my... That's that. So now I'm gonna find out where I cross all those lines. Right there. Right there. Right there. Okay. So now again, I'm gonna make, so I touch the side, go through that point, touch the side, go through that point. And you can play with it until it looks like you want it to. It's gonna be a little weird because it is an ellipse. So it's not gonna be a perfect circle if that's what you're expecting. Should be something like that. Okay, so if this was like a hole that someone had dug, you just colored in, maybe put some like pile of dirt beside it. But we're gonna make it into a planter, so you can just kind of bow out the sides, match that curve. Again, it's not pointy on the ends. Is one of my sides of the pot higher than the other? Dang it. So kind of like that, and you can erase this part. Get a nice curve. Oh, there's a level of dirt in there, and we can stick a tree in it. We were almost done, and it cut me off. So I'm just kind of sketching a tree out here. And it's organic, so it doesn't follow rules of perspective. Remember, you can't follow the mountain. It lies. Okay, so I got my sketchy tree. If I wanted to, I could put leaves on it, but it's about to be fall, so no leaves today. Finally, if I wanted to put like a driveway, I could put it next to my house. Make it go through the side. That seems like a massive driveway. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, that's better. And you could even, angle it down, whatever, if you wanted. Of course, you wouldn't be able to see this part. Of it. It's just kind of your own guesstimation there, because it's just an angle. And then we'll have our road. So this is all grass. You can draw that in just with colored pencil. You don't need to draw that in with the graphite. So there we have it. Fun driveway. You could even do your dotted line or whatever. Remember, those aren't just single lines. So you'd actually need to measure those in distance and draw those in too. Everything takes forever, but it turns out wonderfully. I promise. So I didn't measure those, so they're gonna look weird. But that's it.